Okay, I think we can start in a couple of moments. I see that our experts are online waiting for us to start. Okay, let me see. There are still some coming. All right, I think we are ready for the next event of today, which is the Erasmus Open Doors Day. So, dear experts, dear listeners who are present in Brussels right now, and those who are joining us online, dear Blueprint partners, welcome to the Erasmus Open Doors Day. My name is Angela Friesen. I work for BZB, which are 3 training centers for the building trades in Germany. I'm a partner in the project Skills Blueprint for the construction industry. For the next 2 hours, I will be your moderator. Most of today's audience members work on European projects and do not need an introduction to the Erasmus Plus program. Still, I would also like to give the other participants in today's event a little insight into the program. Erasmus Plus is the program for the promotion of education, training, youth, and sports in Europe. Until the end of 2020, a total of 14.8 billion euro has been allocated to promote the qualifications and employability of more than 4 million people in Europe. For the current funding period, as much as 26.2 billion euro will be made available. This is almost twice as much as for the predecessor program. Erasmus Plus participants benefit from the program. They improve their professional, linguistic, social, and intercultural skills. At the same time, they experience an increased awareness of a common Europe and its diversity. Erasmus Plus also supports the internationalization of national education systems from kindergarten and all types of schools and higher education to adult education institutions. Since 2021, the Erasmus Plus program has pursued 4 priorities. First, inclusion and diversity. Second, digital transformation. Third, environment and fight against climate change. And fourth, the participation in democratic life. Skills Blueprint for the construction industry is a cooperation for innovation and the exchange of good practices, and aims to implement a new strategic approach to sectoral cooperation on skills. The project is the largest alliance in the European construction sector, an alliance that is only possible with the support of the European Union. For the last 4 years, 24 partner organizations from 12 countries have been working together on the further development of expertise in the construction sector. The main focus has been on energy efficiency, circular economy, and digitalization. This morning, we heard interesting contributions on those 3 topics. The Erasmus Open Doors Day is about the skilled workers of tomorrow. The Blueprint project partners invited experts from European educational institutions. These people will share their knowledge today on the topics of youth and mobility and how to interest more women for the construction sector. As you have already noticed, this event is performed in a hybrid format. Present with you, our participants in Brussels, and online with our participants from different European countries, as well as our audience. We will hear 3 expert panels, each with 4 or 5 experts who will answer questions on their topics. After each round of talks, you will have the opportunity to participate in the discussion yourself, ask questions, or share your experiences. The present audience can find individual microphones next to their seats that can be pushed to talk. After the second expert panel, we have scheduled a short break. Now, let us start with our first expert panel. The topic is Youth in Europe, Young People's Vision of Society and Work in Construction. I would like to welcome Belén Campillo from the Madrid City Council, Agency of Employment in Spain. Sasha Turnček, vet teacher at the construction school and gymnasium in Maribor, Slovenia. Philippe Dresto, director of marketing and training forecasting at Compagnons du Devoir, a French network for training in construction trades. And Dr. Margherita Roiati, Fondazione Adapt, which is an association for international and comparative studies in labor and industrial relations in Italy. So let us start with our first expert panel. The first question is directed to Philippe Dresto and is, first of all, welcome, and what is the vision of society that young people have?
So everybody, thank you for this invitation. Concerning the vision of the society of young people have, a great part of what I will share with you comes from youth surveys realized in 2022 and from the experience we may have within the Compagnons du Devoir with the youth. First of all, we have to bear in mind that 82% of young people say they are happy. So that's a huge point. That's a very good news. The French youth and the European youth is happy. Moreover, we used to say that young people are wokist. Wokism is a sort of an extreme sensibility to identity issues from gender or race. And massive essayists or analysts widespread decided that youth are wokist. We can measure that within the surveys that youth are not wokist. On the question relating to gender and those relating to structural racism, the idea that former colonial society like France are structural racist, we can see that this idea is only supported by a minority, quite different profile. So we have a youth very open-minded. Moreover, there is another point which is very structuralism. It's the weight of women in the youth. The second lesson we have from the survey is the role of this woman, the evolution of their place in the society. Societal and political changes are now driven more by young women. This is a very important fact for the youth. And this category of youth change the socio-political attitude towards the gender and the traditional way of thinking. On the one hand, compared to previous generation, French youth is more pronounced test for protest while respecting the democratic framework and repudiating political violence. More than men, the violence towards women is very, how can we say, there is a strong opposition towards this violence. The difference in sensitivity and attitude behavior between women and men is a significant contribution in the measurement of this survey.
Thank you very much. Okay. I think we will later hear as well a little bit about the topic of women and as well in construction. So we will try to go to the second question, which I would like to ask Sasha Turnček. So, Mr. Turnček, does the Erasmus Plus program meet young people's needs?
Okay, hello from Slovenia. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So on our school we have two different Erasmus projects. So we have also Erasmus project for students, which we have exchange of students and we work on project. And we also have Erasmus Plus, which our students go out in different countries for exchange of work. So they go for 30 days out of our school and they go for work. So this exchange is very useful for them because students see how things are going in other countries, how the other people are thinking, how they also collect experience from other country. So they are very satisfied with this. But the main problem is because Erasmus Plus is not doesn't have so many money resources for the students. So this year a lot of students did assign for going out for Erasmus, but they didn't get. So only few students get the opportunity to go out. So this is very bad because Erasmus doesn't give a lot of money on that.
May I just interrupt you for a second because we have a little technical problem here. I think should be good right now. Okay, you may go on.
So there is a big financial problem in Erasmus Plus. So it would be better that Erasmus Plus give more money for that opportunity. I don't know what's on the other schools, but on our school they don't get a lot of money for the students.
Okay, thank you very much. Belén Campillo, what are the advantages of a European-wide program for attracting young people to the construction sector compared to the various national initiatives?
Well, hello everybody, and thank you very much for the invitation. I was listening what Sasso has already said, and of course, this is one of the advantages that I have that I wanted to bring to you. Which is the possibility of the young people to travel, to visit to another countries, to exchange experiences with people from other European countries, with some similarities, no, in the reality. It is true that the money is not very very wide, but in the programs, in the Erasmus Plus programs that we carried during these years, the possibility of exchange and to travel and to stay training, for example, for 1 week or something like that, regarding one topic, maybe related with construction, but we have experience in another sectors, for example, creativity or theater or so on, all regarding employment or training to get into the labor market. This possibility is, of course, for us, one of the main advantages to attracting young people, not only to the construction sector, but in many others sectors. I have highlight two other advantages. One related with the possibility of the partners exchanging also experiences and learn from other countries. Sometimes they are more they are move forward or they are in another stages, and we can learn from them. And this is something that we can have from participating in the Erasmus Plus, with the goal of improve our services that we provide. For example, here in the City Hall of Madrid, we have learned from other countries and other partners. And the last one that I want to remark here is one which has is very important for us. That is, through these Erasmus Plus projects, we can work specifically in professional profiles. For example, some professional profiles that need to be updated, in order to be more aligned with the reality. And also, we have created new profiles that are professionals to work in new topics or new situations to face some problems or situations. This is the three advantages that I think we can highlight here.
Thank you very much. May I hand over to Mrs. Royati with a question: what is the main cause of skills mismatch between the needs of the market and those that of young people?
So thank you for this important question, Angela. This is also my field of study during my PhD. And I have to say that different people are prone to different types of skills mismatches, and I would say to skills imbalances, in a broader sense. For example, older workers are likely to suffer more from physical, technical skills obsolescence, as age can wear down physical or mental skills abilities. Otherwise, young workers, as new entrants in the labor market, tend to have face other types of skills mismatches, such as overeducation, which is linked to a lack of work experience. The literature suggests that it is not clear if, for example, gender as a topic can affect skills mismatches, but it is possible that women's higher turnover rates may lead to employers, when hiring for particular jobs, to require higher abilities or from women to relative to men. But the evidence of skills mismatch being a more serious problem for women than for men is mixed. Also when talking and making reference to the youth. Studies of skills mismatch among people with disability are notable by their absence. So it is important also to stress again this topic. In brief, we can say that there are several concurrent causes underlying skills mismatch. One which is really important when talking about young people and young people entering the labor market is the incomplete information in the labor market, but also differences between people and transaction costs can lead to people being mismatched in their jobs. Another reason could be the underinvestment in people, in training and education, as mentioned also in this program, in the Erasmus Plus program, by my colleague before in this panel. So tackling mismatch through better labor market information, which is also one of the aims and of the objectives of sectoral skills alliances, and communication and efficient job placement initiatives and career guidance services should be a priority for policymakers and within study programs and BET curricula for enabling a better match in between demand and supply, not only of skills, but also of professional profiles, also the new ones mentioned by Belen. So I would like just to point out that for the International Labour Organization, they note that career guidance, information, advice, and counseling are of particular importance, are activities strategic to allow individuals, especially young people, to understand training offer, available incentives, and labor market and career prospects at the sectoral level. So in order to reduce the skills mismatch phenomena or skills imbalances at sectoral, territorial, and national level and sectoral level, again, labor market information, labor market intelligence services like the one provided by European agencies like CEDEFOP or national statistical body are of prominent relevance when duly communicated in a user-friendly way also by other stakeholders and actors in the labor market.
Thank you very much. The next question is for Sasu Turnsek. Would it be useful to introduce the concept of mentors for knowledge and experience of older, perhaps already retired construction workers to guide and inspire the youth while they are enrolled in construction schools?
That's a very great idea, but you have to know in Slovenia a lot of engineers which are retired, they don't want to go back to the school, or I don't know, they are too old because they are working till end of their career. So also they have, I know they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't have teacher experience, so they don't know how to get this knowledge to the students. Some I don't. There are I don't know. There are examples which engineers are very good in that, but a lot of engineers, they're used to work on the construction yard or in, I don't know, design office or something, and they don't know how to give this knowledge to the student. I always say to my students, the best teacher is one who has been on a construction site or is still active designer, because he knows what's new on the market, what's going on, what are he has also experience on that. For example, I work after my school. I always design. I do projects, so I'm always up to date. I know the computer software. I know the law, what's in construction. So I know everything up to date. The difficulty is when the teacher are theoretically, they don't have experience. This is the big problem. And if I come back to the mentors, in Slovenia, we have some teachers or mentors which are coming back. I always say after the school, you have to go, if you want to work in a school, it's better to go 5 years to the construction yard, to the design office to get the knowledge. The school shouldn't allow to go directly from school to teaching school. This is the big problem, because a lot of teachers are just theoretically, which don't have experience, and also they don't do to get them more. So if we go back to the mentors, I think they are too tired to come back. They just want to enjoy in their retirement, and that's all. I think they wouldn't come, but it would be a good idea to them to come back.
Thank you very much. And speaking of education, I would like to ask the final question for this expert panel, which is directed to Philip Dresto. And The question is, how do young people feel about education? Can you hear me?
41% of young people describe their past studies as difficult. We have to face a huge crisis with the COVID, and this time was pursued by French youth with a very strong crisis, and they have to face their education alone. And that's why it was very hard. As far as education, we can speak also about work, and it's quite interesting to survey the relation between young people and work. And on that matter, we can sum up with two words: it's fixed hour, no thank you. And what is right for the world, the work is also right for the education. Young people want their own educational parcours. They are aware of the widening of inequalities, the growth of exclusion, the weakness of the society, and the ecological disaster. And young people are distancing themselves from the world of work and the world of education as their parents may have lived. What they are wanted, it's quite a revolution, but it's a way of social progress. They want an education and a job with passion. And that's a very huge point for the young people, and it's quite different from their grandparents. We may make a difference between young from the city and young from the countryside. There are two different mechanisms, but that's interesting to see the parallelism between education and the relation to work.
Thank you very much. So these were the questions that I was going to ask the experts. Now is the time for the exchange among the audience. If maybe somebody would like to ask our experts, or maybe somebody would like to contribute something, or maybe share their experience, we would now have some moments to do that. Is maybe somebody here in the room, somebody would like to ask something?
I think there were some questions online. There were some hands raised.
Okay.
I saw it on the screen.
Yes, actually.
I don't know if you can see it.
I can't see it, but here in the front. Yes.
Hello everyone. So we have a question from the online audience for the all experts regarding the vision of young people. So this person is wondering if the construction industry is seen in the minds of young people more as an unattractive driver of climate change and less as innovative industry. How do the experts see young people's view of the construction industry in relation to climate change? Thank you.
Who would like to answer this question?
If you want, I can begin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the construction sector, there are two particular facts. The first one is positive. It's a sector that promotes sense. That when you build a building, you see the building and you can say to your son or your daughter, yes, I participate to this construction. And it's quite important for the construction of each other. And it's a way to respond of fundamental needs of human. So that's a good point. Then the negative point is I don't have the word in English, the difficulties that of this word, masonry, carpentry, covering are are very hard work with climate, with heavy loads, and this could be a break for a lot of people.
Thank you. Do we have more questions from the audience?
No, but the question was for all the panelists.
For all the panelists. Mm-hmm.
Someone else would like to reply?
Okay. Would somebody else from our expert panel like to answer this question as well?
If it's possible, I can contribute to the discussion, but I also saw that my colleague raised his hand, so for me it's the same. I can go. It's a short answer. Before this meeting, I was also looking for recent data and reliable data concerning the age composition of the sectoral workforce in the construction industry, and for example, looking at the attractiveness of the issue of attractiveness of the sector, especially towards young people, and then saw the future sustainability of the industry, considering also the demographic changes undergoing at the European level and in some countries with more impact than in other. I had a look at the Eurostat European Union Labour Force Survey, and I saw that in 2020, so a year before the pandemic, so a consolidated data concerning the workforce, that the data on employment population by age in the EU, the 25-49 age group was on the lead with 60.7%, while the 15-24 age group has the lowest value, equal to 7.4% in the European Union, considering the construction industry. So in some sectors, and I saw it in different sectors, for example, the within the services of general interest, which includes also the energy sector or the transport sector, which are cross-linked when talking about the digital and green transition in some sector, and this could also be the case, of course, of the construction industry. Phenomena of skill shortages and mismatches can be witnessed in relation to this lack of attractiveness of the sector, and not only in relation to young people, but also with specific reference to the female component of the workforce involved in the sector. In this regards, I can say that examples of effective communication campaigns led both by companies and, as my colleague said, also local authorities. So facing different peculiarities, considering the gap in between big cities and rural areas or other territorial specificities. So together, companies, municipalities, vet providers, local authorities, when they communicate the career prospects, the impact of certain sectors, branches, in terms of competitiveness and supporting the twin transitions, we can see good results in terms of attracting young people entering specific study programs and training programs for being equipped with the right skills strategic to the competitiveness and growth of the sectors, and of course of the territories where these sectors are important for the economy. So, examples can be found in France, for example, in the energy sector, with huge studies carried out with employees organizations, trade unions, but also private and public research centers. So we have a lot of best practices. I think they should be communicated as well in a user-friendly and youth-friendly way in order to bridge this gap, which I agree could bring to a lower competitiveness of the sectors.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tonczek, would you like also to say something?
Just in short, I'm going to band on the Philippe. It's very. I see that's very big difference because of students which are coming from rural or from cities or outside. This is very big difference. They want to study, but the students from city, they're just boring. They don't want to do anything, and how to encourage them is very difficult. That's very difficult. The gap. Also, you have to know when in our country you say civil engineer, they immediately say, okay, this is building, you do with the concrete, you do with the brick, you do hard work. So nobody knows that also civil engineering is design, leading of construction. So no hard working. Yeah, you have a full-time job the whole day, but it's not hard working. So depends how do you represent this construction to this other school. So we do sometimes we do a marketplace. So we go from school to the school and we represent the whole hour. We do and represent this to the primary school and what the construction, what's everything with the construction, what they do and everything. So this we have to do more on that. Because in Slovenia, we have a big gap in construction. We don't have a people, and if they're good, they go outside because they get more paid, they get higher salary than in Slovenia. So everything which are good, they go out. So the bad are staying because they cannot go or they cannot afford it to go out, or they just don't want to go, and that's the main problem in Slovenia.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I would like to go to the next expert panel, but if there is something that Mr. Dresto you would like to say to finish this topic, I would also like to give you the floor.
Yes, just to have a first explanation of the gap that's underlined. It may be the lack of information of what is really jobs in construction sector. Everybody has an idea, and the common opinion of what is job in construction sector is not the reality of the day-to-day workers. And if you question people that working on the construction sector, you will have a very good testimonies that is not in relation with the idea the people have of what is construction sector, and we have to improve the image and the attractivity of this sector.
Thank you very much. I think these were the right words to close this expert panel so that we have still room to improve. I want to thank you all for your contribution in this topic, and I would like to switch over to our next topic, which is mobilities. So could we have, please, our experts for mobilities? Let me see. I already see 1, 2 experts. Okay, so I see Mr. Scapello. I see Mrs. Bayhan. Okay, all right. So there are, in fact, 2 experts missing. So this will be a smaller expert panel. And I would like to introduce our 2 experts for this topic, which is mobilities for vet students and staff, opportunities, main participants, and initiatives. Our first expert is Lars Scapello, who is the director of Talentbrücke, an organization that works in the transition from school to the first jobs in Germany. And our second expert is Dr. Avril Bayhan, the director of SOLAS, the College of the Future in Ireland. So I would like to start with Mr. Scarpello. Hello. What are the most important destinations for mobility and vocational education and training in Europe? I don't hear you right now. Are you muted? Still muted. Okay, I think now it should. I still don't hear you. Okay, maybe in the meantime, our two other experts could just send a short hello to see if I can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Hello, I hear you. And Mrs. Beckers? You're muted as well.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay, I hear you. How about Mr. Scarpello? Oh, still muted. I don't know what to... Okay, we have to... I don't know, I can't... maybe if you put off your headphones. Okay. And disconnect the cable. Take off the headphones and disconnect the cable. Maybe is possible. It's wireless. Disable the Bluetooth.
Use the microphone from the laptop.
Use the microphone from the laptop.
You can maybe try someone else while he's...
Okay, so then we will start with Leticia Beckers. In the meantime, maybe... I don't hear you still.
Okay, no.
Okay, so can you say something again, I think?
Hello, Brussels. Come on here.
Great. So everybody here in Brussels is now cheering for you. So very great. Great. Maybe we could switch now that I see Mrs. Beckers, because I would like to ask her the first question, and then we could go over to Mr. Scarpello, which was our first idea of how we would structure these questions. So, Mrs. Beckers, why does the Erasmus Plus program offer opportunities for the mobilities of learners and staff?
Yes, hello everyone. I think I will not repeat all the positive effects that mobility have on people because we all know them, but I just wanted to tell you two different stories just to illustrate how mobilities can change the whole life of someone. The first story I wanted to tell you happened in 2009. I was organizing a mobility for our bricklayers going to Italy, and the trainer proposed me the application form of a young guy called Guillaume. I didn't know him at all because he was always absent from the training center. Normally in our guidelines, the fact of following the lessons regularly was one of the most important criteria to participate to a mobility abroad. So the answer should have been negative, of course. But I decided to call him and have a discussion together, and we decided to make a deal together. If he had no more absence from classes before the mobility period, I will let him go to Italy. The ball was so in his court. And then by getting to know him, I noticed that this guy had really big problems at home, problems at school, and that he was a very shy guy. He had absolutely no self-confidence, and the reason he didn't attend the lesson at school was because of his shyness and the fact that he had big problems by getting integrated in groups. And then, hopefully for me, because I could have big problems if he didn't succeed in our deal, Guillaume went to Italy, and then came really the revelation. The group was on the same building site with one trainer, and after a few hours, the shy Guillaume became kind of the chief of the group. His nickname was Capo, and he noticed that in fact, inside of himself was sleeping a skilled a skill he never noticed before. It was leadership. And during the stay, he managed to work with the team, his team, as he called them. And after that, he decided to open his own company because during this mobility period, he realized that it was kind of his destiny. And now, 15 years after, he is company owner with 10 workers. And at the moment where I am talking to you, he welcomes trainees from France coming for mobility period in Belgium. And we still have contacts together. I met him 2 weeks ago, and he told me again, and each time I meet him, he told me that this stay in Italy was really a turning point for his life. And then that's the answer how Erasmus Plus programs can influence the life of someone. And if I still have 1 little minute, I can say also that the other story I wanted to talk to you is simply my story. In fact, in 2010, I was just at my office and dealing with mobility for the students, but in my office, preparing all the papers, selecting the participants, and so on. And one day, my boss, Jacques Wilker, my previous boss, asked me to participate to a meeting in Madrid because he was busy. And I still remember it was the 23rd of June, and I was completely afraid because I never took the plane before. You imagine, I was 25 years old, I never took the plane, and I was completely stressed. And like Guillaume, I was a very shy woman with zero self-confidence. And for me, it was very complicated just to imagine talking like I am doing now in front of an audience. And I still remember at the airport, I was verifying times where is my passport, my ID card, and so on. And then when I came back from them, I just thought, oh, yeah, I could manage it. I could cope. And then I felt, like a warrior, invincible and full of self-confidence. And then I just wanted to go abroad again, to discover Europe, to meet new people, to exchange ideas. It was also like a revelation for me. And then I had the chance to participate to many different programs. And I see that in the audience, there are many people with the one I could work for the past. And I just want to say that these opportunities was also a way to have a good and big network outside of Belgium. And all those people inspired me and marked me forever. So I'm not embarrassed to say that they miss me a lot. And I thank you, all of them, for the influence they had on my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing those two stories, these inspirational stories. I think that there are many people in this room who can connect to them because they as well know you personally from other projects. So I would like to go over to Lars Carpello and to the first question for him, which is what are the 4 most important destinations for mobility in vocational education and training in Europe?
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's working.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. First of all, I have to send greetings from Alex Bell. For family situation, he couldn't come to the meeting. I think he wrote to you, Angela, but he says sorry. Okay. If it comes to the 4 most liked countries in Erasmus Plus, I found some data from the period of 2016 to 2018, so before Brexit. And then the 4 countries were Spain with 17% of the mobilities. The second one was the United Kingdom with 12%. On the third position was Italy with 10% of the mobilities. And the fourth was Germany with around about 14,000 people coming in this time frame, so it was 8% of all the mobilities.
Oh, okay. And who is the typical vet student in Germany who goes abroad with the Erasmus Plus program?
Yeah, It's quite interesting because it's not the construction worker. It's more or less people working or being in commercial trainings, more or less. And usually they are quite young. Most start at 18 up to 25, which is, I think, completely clear because they are trainees. And most are industrial clerks, foreign language correspondents, tourism workers, or at least people with higher education, as we have it here in Germany with Abitur.
And which professional group of vet students from Germany carries out the most Erasmus Plus funded mobilities?
That's in fact the industrial clerks. From the German mobilities, almost 14% of all the mobilities were from industrial clerks. Then the next group is the wholesale and foreign trade clerks with about 5%, office communication clerks with almost 5%. And then there is one group of hotel specialists, people working in the hotels with about 4% of all the mobilities, and administrative assistants with around about 4% of the mobilities.
Thank you very much. I would like to hand over to Dr. Avril Behan from Ireland and ask her what strategic initiatives are helping to improve mobility in Ireland.
Right. Thank you, Angela, and good afternoon, everyone. I suppose we, in Ireland, for a lot of this, we're taking a slightly different angle on mobility, not just mobility between countries, but also mobility between skills levels and enabling, I suppose, skills and education and training to support people to move between different, I suppose, attainment in life. And it's in that context that I'll give a couple of examples. So we have a number of strategic initiatives that are government funded and supported also by European Union initiatives, including Erasmus Plus, etc. So, for instance, I know a lot of students who are coming, or a lot of learners who are coming from poor communities, particularly in urban areas, and we would have a particular grouping in both Dublin and in Limerick, who are two of our largest cities, who would not typically be attracted to craft apprenticeship areas, which would be areas like electrical, plumbing, carpentry, plastering, those areas. And typically their uptake of apprenticeships would be very low. So we have a supported initiative, which was actually philanthropically supported as well by a private industry company, the JP Morgan Chase, but also by the Irish Social Inclusion Fund. And it's now running in Technological University Dublin and also in the Technological University of the Shannon, where students are brought in to try out a range of different trade options over a period of 12 weeks. They're also supported in terms of developing their confidence, as was referred to earlier by one of our co-panelists, and developing their capability to actually engage with employers to try and get themselves a full apprenticeship where they will learn over the course of 3 to 4 years a full skill, which will then give them a career for their future. And these programs have been running for a number of years with a 90% success rate for the students who come in. So typically it's a small group of students come in, around 16 students, come in for 12 weeks into a university, and they, within that program, they have 4 weeks of placement, which they undertake with an employer, and very many of those learners will go on to actually get employment with those companies. So it's a really important social mobility tool, because an awful lot of these learners are coming from backgrounds where there has been generational unemployment, and this really seeks to actually help them to bring them into I suppose, a different mindset, and to show them what is capable or what is possible and what they themselves are capable of.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask the last question to Leticia Beckers, which would be, do VET students from the construction sector in Belgium participate in Erasmus Plus mobility, and how is the current situation?
Yeah, yes, they do, but unfortunately, it mostly depends on the initiatives or of their schools or training centers. The different organizations are very busy with all the obligation they have to deal with on a daily basis, and unfortunately, they do not always have the resources to be able to implement mobility. They really need human resources to comply with the quality standards of European projects, and also financial resources. And then it really depends on what they are able to do. So, but if in the schools they propose mobilities, yes, students are very happy to go.
Thank you very much. So these were the questions I wanted to ask. There is still the opportunity to maybe ask one question from our audience, as I would like to stay in the time frame of this event. So if there is somebody who would like to answer one question, ask one question to our experts, this is the opportunity right now. How about our audience online? Okay. Well, then thank you very much, Mrs. Bayhan, Mr. Scapello, Mrs. Beckers, for your contribution. And I would like to go over to the last topic of today, to the last expert panel, which is Women in Construction, Current State, Latest Initiatives, and the Potential of Digitalization. Could we go over to the last expert panel, number 3? Can you see who's online from the last panel? Can you see who's online from the last panel? Okay. Almeida and Kamika. Okay, I see 2 experts for our last panel, which are Joaquim Nogueira de Almeida, General Manager of the consulting company Anakin in Portugal, and Rytis Kaminskas, the Director of the National Passive House Association in Lithuania. And hello. And a third expert, Dr. Antonis Panas, the adjunct lecturer at the National Technical University of Athens in Greece. Welcome.
Hello.
Nice to see you. So, here is our 4th expert joining. Just give me 1 second. Elizabeth O'Brien, who manages the Digital Academy for Sustainable Built Environment at the Technological University of the Shannon from Ireland. And I see as well Grażyna Różanek, Sectoral Council for Competence in the Construction Industry in Poland. I think we are now complete. Yes, we are complete in this expert panel. Okay. So, I would like to ask the first question to Mrs. Różanek. How many women work in the professions of construction in Europe? How many female apprentices are trained in VET centers?
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. I know talking about numbers and percentages is usually a bit challenging, but don't worry, I'm not going to make you bored. Usually when you picture male-dominated industries, construction is one of the first that comes to mind. Although female works are now more common, both on the construction side and on the offices of construction companies. There is still enormous gender gap. As this comes to numbers, women comprise about 10.4% of workers in construction industry, due to Eurostat data of 2021. Good news is that the percentage has been increased by 1.7% from year 2011. So means it grew for the 10 years by 1.7%. When it comes to education, I must say that the lower the level of the European qualification framework is, the lower the proportion of women is in our classes in Europe. So, going to details, in Europe, the average percentage of female in vocational education training at 3 to 4 level of European qualification framework is about 2%. In some countries, even lower. And please note that vocational education trains mainly workers for front lines of construction sites. Classes that prepare for typical construction jobs don't encourage girls to participate. At the level of technical, at technical schools means 4 level of European qualification framework, percentage of female is a bit higher, is about 3 to 4%. In technical universities of construction faculties, means level 6, 7 of European qualification framework. There are about 20 up to 40% of women, but the percentage depends mainly of the faculty that are taught at the specific high school. You can find faculties which is called interior design, when you can meet even 90% of women, means the faculty is dominated by women.
Thank you very much.
It gives you the general picture of the structure.
Thank you. I would like to hand over to Dr. Panas. Does the construction industry need women?
Hello from Athens, and greetings to all of you. Nice to have you here. The answer is definitely yes. And the reason is very simple. We are all facing an important labor and skill shortage in the construction industry. Imagine that in 2018, the construction industry in general had the largest ratio of unemployment to vacancy. Almost 2 positions are open for each person seeking employment. And I think it has to do also with the previous, let's say, saying that we had about the construction industry being actually non-attractive or unattractive in general. Another thing that is very, very important is that it is estimated that 41% of the current construction workforce will retire by 2031. So we definitely need a renewal, and we definitely need to attract youth and the critical, let's say, ages of 70 to 24 and then 25 to 50, which are very, very productive. Imagine that as we speak now in Greece, we have a vacancy, estimated vacancy in the construction industry of more than 250,000 positions in an industry that employs almost 150,000 people. So we are actually seeking double the people that are currently employed in construction. And this has to do also with the boom that we are living in Greece in relation to the 10-year recession that we had in the previous years. In addition, there would be also a financial benefit. Recruiting women for construction jobs will create more diversity for a company, and potentially it will drive performance. And it has been found, and this is, let's say, a guidance for us, companies that were in the top 25% in gender diversity of their workforce were 46%, so almost 50%, more likely to outperform the industry average. So companies produced, let's say, 10% higher cash flow returns. It's companies that women make up half of the senior managers. So I think we definitely need women in construction. And this is also another benefit that we had to take into account. We have to reflect the society we live in. It's no secret, dear colleagues, that blue-collar jobs in the construction industry have been traditionally, let's say, seen and regarded as men's jobs. However, women are typically working in the office and positions such as management, sales, and generally, let's say, back office. We have actually one woman every 100 men in the construction site per se. This is a clear illustration of the discrimination of that women face. And since we have had to fight inch by inch for recognition and equality in construction, I think there's more room for us to do even more in that respect.
Thank you very much. Joaquim Nogueira de Almeida, has the role of women working in construction in Portugal changed over the years?
Hello, greetings from Portugal. Unfortunately, not as desired. Functions in civil construction carried by women right now are only around 10%. When I began to work about 35 years ago, they practically carried out only administrative functions, with some women in higher functions because they were civil engineering. Now we can see a little bit more women in construction sites as painters, electricians, plumbers, and machine drivers. Anyhow, the state gender equality programs that have promoted increasing pressure on companies to include women in various functions, including many construction companies, have adopted policies to promote gender equality and encourage women to pursue careers in civil construction. However, in reality, there are cultural barriers that are difficult to overcome. I made last month a survey that showed me that the lack of women in middle management and craftsman positions have the reasons, 41%, that this is a male chauvinist environment. This is really a shock for me. 39% because it is a physically hard job. 12% that was a bad pay function, despite that in Portugal, women in construction are better paid than men. And 6% for being incompatible with maternity. So I don't know what is the case in the other countries, but in Portugal, really, there is a big room to expand the women in construction.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask Rytis Kaminskas the next question. How does digital technology in the construction sector influence the attraction of women to this sector?
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. The construction sector is rapidly transforming and is on the path of digitalization. And employees in this field are becoming more and more modern every year. able to perform complex work professionally and with high quality. Digitalization tools like GPS, programming machines, BIM modeling, and other similar equipments eliminate the need of hard physical work, making construction work attractive to women as well. Digital construction design is gaining popularity. Digital tools makes work easier, sector more quickly. They are motivated to learn, are open, responsible, and positive, and I would say very creative person in the construction sector, and it is very welcome.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask the last question to Elizabeth O'Brien. Are there any initiatives that support the upskilling of women in the Irish construction industry and the participation of young female students in secondary schools into the industry in Ireland at both higher and further levels of education?
Hi everyone, hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, I'm going to quickly go through 3 initiatives that we have in Ireland. So the first one was established by the Construction Industry Federation late 2017. So it's been going for quite a while, and it's known as #BuildingEquality, and it's a working group. So they set this up to promote equality and opportunities in the construction industry. The main purpose was to change the perception of the industry, and previous speakers have talked about this. The image of the industry isn't perceived as great for a lot of people, but it's also to make construction viable and attractive as a career for women at all ages, not just at an early age. Because we forget we're not just aiming at the young people. There's women out there who maybe dabbled a little bit in construction before they had children, etc., but there's no reason why they can't go back in the industry. So the initiatives share the stories of women in industry, why they took their roles, and I suppose what it's like working in the industry. So these are real life stories, and these stories are taken to secondary and primary schools, as we call them here. And they're supported by Women Day events as well, and regular podcasts. And podcasts are really, really important for, I suppose, the younger group. So that's the first initiative. That's running quite successfully here. The second initiative is from an educational side. So it's from the further education training boards, alongside the technological universities, which we're one of them, TUS, Technological University of the Shannon. And it's through the introduction of NZ roadshows to schools. So again, it's targeting to schools, it's targeting the young people. But it's not only about NZ, but also to provide diverse trainings such as VR training. We have a few VR training tools now we're pushing through the industry. And active practical workshops. What I mean by this is retrofitting models. So you take these mobile models around and they practice the retrofitting. To them, it's not dirty work. And that's one of the important aspects of changing the perception of industry, and also introducing them to new cleaner materials and technologies. So we've introduced them to spray air tightness paint and robotics, and it's key to make them aware that it's not about heavy lifting, dirty work with hard hats. That's really important. Now, the final initiative is from the industry, and this is Women in Trades Network Ireland, WITNI. This group has been going for quite a long time, started off by this lady called Jenny. And this is encouraging women in the industry to reskill and upskill. And it works by networking, and it's influenced many women to take up leading roles within their trades. A lot of the people on this network are actually from trades. And as an example, this group also went to Australia to support the recruitment of girls in construction, and it was very, very successful. But it's important to know that many roles that women are taking up are off-site. Rightus and Antonius talked about this already, and such as BIM construction, electrical and heating consultants, digitalization and management roles. The biggest challenge is getting women into trades on-site. And as an example, in Ireland, we're falling short of this uptake. We've only got 1% taking up roles on site and, literally going into the trades. But the new apprenticeship scheme set up by Solace, which Avril is part of, that is tackling this problem, giving emphasis on career pathways for young people, not just women, for all young people. And I believe these initiatives I've talked about above have started to make movement, getting more women as well as young people into apprenticeships, and of course through higher education into construction and engineering programs as well. There's 2 ways of going into the construction industry. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. That's okay. This was my last question, and I would like to give the audience, or our present audience and our online audience, the possibility to maybe ask the last question for today. So, do we have questions in the audience? Okay, I think it was all clear then. And this was our last expert panel for today. I want to thank you very much to all the experts that participated in this event. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the work you put here and the possibility to organize this event all together. Thank you. And
thank you. We thank you.
And just 1 second more, I would like to hand over to our project leader from FLC, Beatrice Oliette, which maybe could finish our event today with the last words.
Okay. I go there.
Thank
you.
You
Have nothing prepared. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Angela, for conducting this open door session of the Erasmus Plus program. Thank you to everyone. I can see all we are partners here in presence, and thank you to all online connected people. Thank you very much for everything. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your attendance and for your participation. And we have last push to do to make in this project, last effort. And come on, let's do it. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.